Hello and welcome to Miami. We're in the Sunshine State today and hoping to get a sunnier outlook on our race results, which have been not superb so far. Partially because the car's not great, partially because I think certain other drivers are a little bit overrated in the vehicles that they're in. We're struggling to really get any progress beyond 14th in a final race result. Those top 13 places seem to be impenetrable. However, we technically have new side pods for the next race. We're only going to have 2 of them, so we don't have any spares, as I can show you on this screen here. I rushed 2 of them, and that does actually get them in time for Miami. Now, I rushed 2 of them because I was hoping to get 4 in by the race after this. But it does mean they'll have these 2 for Miami. So provided nobody crashes and damages the side pod in the process, we could be all right there. At the very least, we can put them on and hope they don't crash. And if someone does crash, then they just go back to the old one. But there we are at race weekend. No other news to be speaking of. I've got new parts being developed in the process, but of course only the new side pods on for this race in particular. So I will see you for qualifying. No sprint this time. Naturally, a slightly more promising practice than we've seen of late. Yuki Tsunoda ended up 11th. Somewhat used engine parts. Low fuel run. We've been in this place before. I'm not going to get too excited. Sergio Perez did decide to crash into Yuki Tsunoda in practice 1, which has earned himself a penalty and cost us the front wing. Quite frankly, I'd rather he didn't. But a little bit of car part knowledge still lacking just because they've not fully got the wave of knowledge from last time, plus the new side pods. Still getting there. And I was right, by the way. Yuki Tsunoda was 79 before. When it told me he went from 78 to 79, he did in fact go to 80. Alright, so the last gearbox goes on Yuki's car and Nick's car just to make sure we can take a full wave of everything in one go. Probably next time out for Yuki because of the ERS problem. It's dry qualifying but a wet race. So we'll see a much more sporadic variety of Kevin. I mean, ironically, Kevin's got in the way of Hulkenberg there. I don't want to get too excited, but we're faster than Ocon. Where's Gasly going to pop himself into here? That's the main question. Gasly. Okay, so Ocon definitely has more to come. Yuki Tsunoda faster than Piastri and Sargent. Norris hasn't had a good one either. He's faster than Piastri normally. That's a Williams that's just come out now. Get behind him, Nick. I mean, I prefer you go at the very end of the session, but, you know, trailing a Williams is a decent prospect. Alfa Romeo's has come out. Get Yuki behind him. There's going to be an issue with Yuki Tsunoda regarding Hulkenberg, who's on a flying lap now. Also, similarly, I thought a Ferrari was catching De Vries, but they were going in. In fact, I think De Vries is on his flying lap. Slower first sector, but he's now clear of everyone. He's going to catch people on the main straight, I think. Why is someone's car broken? We'll join Yuki Tsunoda on his flying lap. He's 12th as things stand. I'm not sure who's actually on a flying lap still. Piastri, De Vries, Ocon's on an out lap, Zhou's on an out lap. They're yet to cross the line. Bottas and Albon are on flying laps. I think there's enough people. Yuki probably could come straight in if De Vries doesn't improve, which he hasn't. Yuki hasn't improved on those new tyres. Well, he has on the middle sector, but 3 people now on flying laps. He's safe. I'm expecting Ocon to go faster. Ocon didn't go faster. Somehow Ocon did not improve on that time. I don't know what's going on there, but Yuki Tsunoda qualifies 12th in that sector. Right, so we'll get him on those tyres. Send him out immediately. I mean, there's less people to get in his way, but someone will do. Still 12th, but different people behind him this time around. So we're going to play opportunistic here. That's the Williams gone. I didn't really react to him. I'll wait for the second McLaren. Everyone's going really early. In fact, they've all gone super early. I'm not even sure the McLaren's coming out now. There it is. Right on the point when I would have wanted to send him anyway. Which one is it, by the way? Is it Norris or... It's Norris. So I think we're doing an out lap when other people are doing in laps. They were doing a flying lap, unless that was Magnussen. Magnussen hasn't come out at all. So everyone's just getting in the way of Hulkenberg there. Unfortunate for him. Does mean they'll get in the way of us, probably. That Ferrari definitely will. But we'll join Yuki Tsunoda for a flying lap of Miami. You can see the McLaren in his visors, so that'll tow him along on the straights, hopefully. I'm looking at tyres. I don't really know why. We've got to negotiate the Ferrari and probably Hulkenberg as well on this flying lap because everyone, for some reason, comes out way too early these days. Should deal with sights on this straight, hopefully. Get out of the way, Carlos. Get out of the way, Carlos. Get out of the way, Carlos. Thank you. I know what you're like on Apexes. I didn't want to meet you here. But through the twisty section, can still see Lando in the near distance. Actually, his teammate is going to get in the way as well. Hulkenberg, the next one. But should catch them both on the straight if we catch them at all. Lovely toe. He's better in first and second sectors. Obviously, he had used tyres before as well. Are we even going to catch Hulkenberg here? Yep, right at the apex. Seriously? 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 No improvement from anyone in the end. Stroll improved, actually. He went up to 7th. But 12th is a better start than we've had so far. Fascinated to know. Comparing it to Lance Stroll, who was also on a flying lap on that last lap, because obviously he's showing some people's in-laps here. 33.6 versus 33.9. 20.7 versus 20.8. He was kind of 4 tenths behind Lance. Oh, he might have made it. There's quite a big gap actually between Hulkenberg and Sargent there, but he might have made it if he hadn't been held up in that last sector. Because he got held up and still did a 37.8. Lando did a 36 without being held up. So he was 4/10 off, and assume they did a 36.5, which still would have been another 6/10. So a second off. Oh, it would have been close with close with Hulkenberg. It would have been close with Hulkenberg, I think. But he definitely would have got 11. Annoying. It's heavy rain race as well, so let's have a nosy. Okay, so we need to be able to survive until lap 35, really, because that's probably where it starts to really get intermediate, and we've only got 70% accurate weather, or even 60%, I'm not certain, actually. That is a brief flash into wet, but then the rest is intermediate. It's whether that is intermediate or not, really, because depending on how long that stays there, that could be just a brief little peek into wet. Still no vertical graph to give us any sort of indication what's going on here whatsoever. So 35 is the hard to the rain might be the play. Because a medium won't make it probably because it's going to be about there. It's not too far off the medium to hard strategy, the hard to medium strategy. Obviously, it's a lot slow because it doesn't understand the rain, but apparently a medium even going into 20% would still be better. Apparently the medium would still be six seconds faster. It gets a little bit damp a little bit early. I'm going to go medium. All right, let's go. Someone's car is visually sparking towards the back. It's Gasly's, I think. No, Ocon's. As we focus on De Vries initially, rather than Yuki. Those people who started on softs, we might actually even be able to mug off here. I'll come back in straight away. There's no early incident. Alonso, Sargent, Norris, Bottas and Zhou have all messed up here, in theory. I really don't think we need to push these tyres. I think at 110 is probably more than enough. We don't want to sort of push them so hard they just go straight into the hot. Everyone maintaining status quo for the time being. I didn't talk over it, but it appears the apex is still a problem. Is De Vries has got Gasly? I mean, they're fighting each other a little bit more properly now, but they got him back again. He got him into the apex, but they didn't show that highlight. They'll show the reverse one, but not the one where he did the overtake in the first place. Tsunoda struggles to hold on to Sargent. I saw someone comment that it seems like the AI are way too fast in the first few laps, and you struggle to keep up with them. Now, admittedly, Norris behind is on softs, but Sargent ahead is also on softs actually as well. They're both on softs actually, so that's kind of fair enough here. De Vries not being able to hold on to Gasly though. It is an Alpine. That's probably a little bit out of place, considering they are effectively 9 and 10 normally. Kevin Magnussen struggling to hold on to his teammate, who similarly is struggling to hold on to Stroll. Checkerboard of Ferrari and Red Bull at the front, and then it's 2 by 2 by 2. Merc, Aston, Haas. You know, letting Norris through here wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, because he's probably faster on those softs. I'm actually going to tell Yuki to stop pushing fuel now. The fact that Albon's all over the back of De Vries, though, is interesting. I'm yet to see either of our drivers go forwards rather than backwards, but yeah, effectively, the person highlighted the fact that in qualifying they were only about 0.1 off the car ahead of them, and then in the race they were about 0.6 slower than them, or a full second slower than them. So, in those first few laps, I kind of feel like I've seen that as well, but I don't know if that's just like kind of placebo, because Tsunoda at least has kept on with Norris here, who is on softs, so he's able to run with him even though the McLaren's on a more favourable tyre at this point, without really dropping out of DRS range. Thankfully the DRS is kind of on the opposite side of the track, so it's not a huge opportunity to fall out of a second unless you're catastrophically slower. And if Albon is faster than De Vries, then this could be a good thing for De Vries. It's going to knock his confidence, sadly, but help him in the long run. I'll be intrigued to see if they pit early as well, of course, because the standard pit stop strategy was a fair few laps earlier than this is sort of planned for. I'm hoping the rain comes effectively on the 30%, that we can kind of go on the intermediates, maybe even go into the intermediates, a lap or two early by accident, quote unquote. Multiple cars have crashed. I'm seeing no sense of VSC or anything more than that. It is a Aston Martin and a Hamilton again. Fernando Estrada couldn't quite tell from helmet alone. I think it's Fernando, but I'm not confident. Why is he showing? Why did he show the Mercedes garage there? Yeah, it's Alonso, who is now stationary. I mean, he should be able to get going again, but without a front wing. Hamilton's one with a penalty for that, though. So, Tsunoda was overtaken by Norris, but now he's got the place back because of Alonso. And same with De Vries, who's now 16th again. De Vries started 16th, and he's still 16th. But I swear he's been overtaken by 2 people. No, Gasly got through, didn't he? It's only Albon he's been overtaken by. Don't fall out of DRS range, Yuki. Stay in DRS range, Yuki. That's not in DRS range, is it? Somehow. He just lost like 3/10 in that one corner alone. I mean, explain that one to me, but whatever. He'll certainly be in it for the main straight, which is kind of the most important thing. Are we terrible in low speed or something? Because we seem to lose a lot of time just in any corner. In fact, he's fighting enough to sort of get back in range. I don't want you to overtake Lando, really, because Lando is faster. He's on soft tyres. Like, fighting will actually cost us time, long run. Same here, really. I'll watch the replay, though, because it's the first positive thing we've seen from either driver. Switch to the inside. Oh, the heady heights of 11th. As De Vries is having to pop at Albon again, as Ocon's joined the party too, for good measure. I think Alonso started on softs, so the fact he's gone on to mediums now inadvertently may help him long term. I mean, he's obviously at the back, but he'll make the rain now on that one set. Also, weirdly, De Vries' tyres are 5% better than Albon's. Don't know why, but they are. Norris's softs are on 68% already. What's he done to them? Like, he's got ahead of Norris, and Norris hasn't got past him. Fascinating. I mean, I expect he will do eventually, but De Vries, Nick, mate. Oh, hang on, what's happened here? Another crash. I think it's... No, it's behind, unfortunately. Actually, is it behind? No, it wasn't. It was ahead. They are now behind. Albon and Piastri. Well, I was telling him to deploy to get onto Ocon, who is actually still ahead of him. What I was trying to shout to Nick, though, is if you could be something other than utterly useless, that would be great. I forget there's a third DRS zone because it's technically the main straight of DRS zone. Hamilton pits now for some reason. So I wonder if his tyres were damaged in the incident and now they've just got to that point as they wait 5 seconds before they do anything. So just getting De Vries back into, touching distance so he can sort of combat Ocon for 13th. Yuki now 10th because of Hamilton pitting. He's in the points and theoretically won't need to pit before the rain. The fact that Sargent has run away, can't explain it. Is he on softs? He's on softs. That one had a pit stop issue as well as being damaged, of course, so that's gone splendidly wrong for them. Finally, a little bit of a shake-up in the order, it feels like, after the first few races were a little bit copy-paste. Obviously, Australia had a fair few, retirements, but beyond those retirements, the order was still basically normal. Now, we've had a few instances without them being retired. A little bit of a shake-up. Still, I mean, it's one of Mercedes and Aston Martin, so it's still 2x2x2, kind of, if it wasn't for that, but we take what we can get. De Vries, after, pushing him to get into the DRS of Ocon, has immediately lost the DRS after one lap. Good God, Nick De Vries, you were utterly woeful. Sorry, real world Nick De Vries, who, slightly unfairly done in there, but in-game, he is utterly awful. Good Lord. Like, this is even Stroll level of awful. Stroll was frustrated because he wasn't fast and he just crashed all the time. De Vries is just painfully slow. Now, I know that's an Alpine, and really we shouldn't be as fast as that, but the fact he can't even stay in the DRS, having been in the DRS, is appallingly bad. After one lap. And now after 2 laps, he's 2 seconds behind. Maybe Ocon's just turned his car up or whatever. Okay, the gap is sort of stabilising at 2 seconds now. Although, no, it's growing again. Bottas is pitting now onto another set of softs, which may just reach the rain. Curious choice. Tsunoda should be very soon be benefiting from those mediums. Stroll pit still comes out ahead of us. All right, so Hamilton's coming through the order now. He's getting close to Tsunoda, but people have started pitting. Sargent has pit, Norris has pit, Zhou has pit. Temporarily running 10th and 12th. Gasly has got through Russell somehow. Oh no, he's pitted, that's why. But Gasly's doing 136.2s and Tsunoda's doing 138.7s. That must be because he got overtaken or something. I don't know what's happened there. De Vries has done a 137.5, so... But he's 1.3 seconds faster. It's a 90-second lap, and he is 1.3 seconds faster in an Alpine. I understand the Ferraris being that fast, but not an Alpine. Beneficial toe or something? I don't know what's happened there then. Yeah, he's done a 137.2 that lap, which is a lot slower. De Vries does a 137.7. I don't know why Tsunoda's so slow, though. Tsunoda is 1.2 seconds slower than De Vries, which I don't get. I know he's being hounded by Hamilton here, but I can't explain Tsunoda's pace. We need a gap between us for when the rain comes. Tow us, Hamilton, tow us. Take us to the promised land of 10th again, maybe. I mean, he'll get DRS for 1 straight at least. Won't keep it beyond that, that's for certain. In fact, the rain is going to be a thing later in the race, isn't it? So we should gain fuel for that. I'll just do it on Yuki for now. More to build the gap between him and De Vries than anything. The ones who started on softs are doing double softs to the rain, essentially. And they'll probably all make it, except for maybe Albon. Gasly's now pitted off mediums. What are they pitting onto? Hulkenberg's gone on softs. Gasly's gone on softs. So I don't know if the 2-stop was the original strategy or not, but it's a little weird they've decided to do that. 9th and 11th as things stand. Magnussen, the only other person not really to have pitted, that's kind of vaguely in our vicinity. But now we have to commit to this. There's no point going on it for like 5 laps, 6 laps. Because if it starts raining here, we'll lose the benefit immediately, pretty much. It's weird that his confidence isn't higher just for running 9th. I feel like every lap that you're in a point-scoring position that you should gain confidence. Because these guys are pitted or on fresh tyres. It's not unreasonable for them to overtake us now. Although he is actually going to defend here, I think. No, there's a weird yield again, and he just slips around the outside. And now he's lost confidence because of that. It's weird how Hamilton went through. I mean, Hamilton pitted, had to wait 5 seconds because of his penalty, and still got it back up to 8. Alonso had front wing damage, pitted, and is still only 16th. What takes longer, a front wing change or 5-second penalty? Feels a little weird. Alonso might have damage to the rest of his car, is the only explanation. Plus he went on to mediums. Hamilton went on to softs. That's probably part of it. Why is Tsunoda so slow? Good God. De Vries just can't hold on to anyone. Just stay in DRS, mate. Gasly just goes through and he's immediately 2 seconds behind him. Immediately. Now, I know these tyres aren't good and he's on softs, but Jesus Christ, De Vries is appallingly slow. Now, Yuki's not much faster, let's be real, but he's got a Sargent with soft tyres that are below 70% now, so they shouldn't be that much better. Thankfully, Gasly, I think, is just unbelievably fast. He's at a 134 there. I feel like that rain's not coming anywhere near as fast as I hoped it would. The dreams are being shattered here. I mean, it should at least be within a second for the detection point this time round, Yuki. I'd have hoped. He is. Tow us, Gasly. Tow us. Take us with you. Through these two, at least. Oh, we've had that weather forecast now. It's 4 minutes away, which is still like 2 and a bit laps, but we're not far off here. So if we don't lose too many places, we might be all right. De Vries is just losing time hand over fist, though. The sky colour has changed as both Norris and Sargent have got through Tsunoda now. Great. Is that raindrops I can see on the camera? It is. So the tyre temperature is probably... track temperature is probably going to plummet now. I feel like we're definitely going to be 1 lap... Oh, who was behind by the checkpoint there? Ocon was. Of course he was. I feel like we're certainly 1 lap. I mean, this has gone spectacularly wrong already. It's a very slow increase. I feel like with Yuki, we need to try now. Because he's just been taken by Alonso there, and we're getting close to 0.5 millimeter. I don't know where the transitionary point of... Oh, Magnussen's pitted, actually. Magnussen has pitted. De Vries is 7 seconds behind, actually. I think we can get away with it as a double stack. Magnussen's gone for it as well, so I assume Magnussen has gone on to intermediates. He has. I feel like it might be too early, but we don't have the tyres. We have to go for it now. 17th fastest pit stop on a 2.6. Crazy. De Vries and Piston comes out ahead of Zhou Guanyu and is slower than him. No? Is he slower than him? I can't work out who's going faster or... Oh, because there's lapping involved. Great. We got absolutely mugged off there. No, we've lost time because we're not actually... Wait, what? Because it's too dry for the tyres still. Yeah, we've been mugged off. Yes, I know the tyres are too hot. There's nothing I can do about it. Right, so it's a learning exercise, this, basically. Bottas and Gasly are still on dries. Lap 36 is finally wet enough. Kind of where I thought it would be, but Bottas has stayed out. Well, that's one free position for Yuki Tsunoda. But yeah, we've been royally mugged off here. He's a lap down as well, for good measure. Bear in mind, those leaders are on dry tyres, so we might be in an awkward situation this lap. We should realistically just be catching those leaders. Oh, we have. I'm not even paying attention to the fact that Albon's just overtaken De Vries for 18th. Yuki Tsunoda is not being allowed to overtake these slow drivers. Gasly's gone on full wets from here. Interesting. I wonder if anyone's going to panic at that peak and go onto wets. Everyone who's pitted now has gone straight onto wets, which isn't sensible. Leclerc's the leader. Well, how far behind Yuki is he? Not very. Oh, great. We are going to get lapped here. People are panicking. People are panicking and going onto wets. Leclerc's just pitted and had a pit stop issue and gone third. Is this enough laps in wet territory is the question to warrant going onto wets. If this is 3.95 there, then that is not much more than 4. It's going to come straight back down in 3 laps time. How much of a problem is it running intermediates? So we are 6 seconds behind Sargent right now, who is on wets. I'm not changing. There's nothing I can do about it. It did go up to 5, and we are now 26 seconds behind Sargent. Great. So we've been lied to here as well, then. That's got a lot higher. Everything is working against us at the moment. Everything. 40 seconds behind Alonso now. It's just continued to go up. It's just not stopped. It's coming back down again now, in theory. According to this, it should be going down. It's still going up. I know our weather center isn't great, but, you know, it should at least vaguely get it correct. 10 laps to go. It's now back in our favour. Are they going to come off wets? Yes, they are. Yeah, I mean, we've lost out in every single respect there. Nothing the information told us indicated that it was going to get that wet for that long, and we've been absolutely bamboozled. Also, it's no longer wet enough for us to be gaining fuel hand over fist, even though it is wet. Was an absolutely pointless exercise. I mean, it's learning exercise. Apparently, that was the wrong thing to do at every single stage. Albon's pitted 5 times and still finished ahead of Tsunoda. Maybe I should have done hards and they definitely would have got to the pit stops. The initial pit stops. Apologies, I've shown you literally nothing of the end of that race because it was all utterly pointless in the end. We've been truly mugged off. We've qualified 12th for Christ's sake. I don't want to get irritated. I don't want to be frustrated by this game, but everything the information told us there was wrong. Quite frankly, all our problems there could have been mitigated just by having a vertical axis on that weather graph to let us know exactly how high that peak was. If I'd known it was going to be 6 millimeters, then I wouldn't have done that strategy. I would have gone onto wets and come back off them. But because I didn't think that peak was going to be much more than 4, I stayed on my intermediates. I thought it was just going to tip into 4.5 and then come straight back down again within about 3 laps. We'd probably lose about 5-10 seconds probably over those 3 laps. But no, it lost about a minute, let's be honest there, because people did 2 pit stops and still ended up ahead of us. I'm not happy. I'm not happy. We've been royally screwed over there. The good news is we will have a new rear wing for Imola as well. If I rush 5 of them, I can get them in there in time. So, you know, progress. So maybe we'll get something out of Imola, but I'm seriously questioning Nick de Vries right now. I'm really tempted to get rid of him sooner rather than later, but the problem is I don't want to get rid of him from another Formula 1 driver because I know they'll just swap teams, and the only reasonable person to replace him with that isn't an F1 driver already is Porsche. And I feel like everyone does Porsche, so I don't really know what to do there. But if you've enjoyed this somehow, like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal by now. Thank you for watching. Apologies. Until next time, ta-ra.